Thank you for joining XROM, which is India's first AR/VR focused podcast. And today I'm delighted and honored to have with me Mr. Daniel van der Waals, who's the founder at Beemup. They are a startup based on Netherlands who are building an open, ethical, and decentralized metaverse. So I would love to know what that is. So why don't we give an overview on the metaverse, because I think there is so much ambiguity out there because everybody's got a different kind of explanation of what metaverse is. So what's your explanation on the metaverse?
Thank you, Eddie, for having me. Nice to be on this podcast. Basically, you have the internet. It consists of all the websites that are out there. It's a 2D experiences or a 2D experience, basically. And how I see the metaverse is, you have all these virtual worlds that are created. Of course, now a lot of games. You see a lot of games that were originally meant to be like a shooter, for example. And there are all the games. There more and more they are used to build worlds, to build experience, to do social activities. And how I see the metaverse is basically all these virtual worlds where people together, they share knowledge, they share experiences. When all these virtual worlds will be connected to each other, so it will be like a seamless experience that you can go from one virtual world to the next, like you would surfing the internet from one website to the other. Well, basically, then you're talking about the metaverse. Well, that's my definition. All these virtual worlds connected, and also connected to the real world.
We are creating this metaverse, this digital world, and in that digital world there will be an economical layer which is going to be supported by NFTs. In the digital world, how exactly how we transact in a physical world, buy and sell things, we would be doing the same thing in a digital world. Either minting those objects and selling those objects, transacting those objects, and these non-fungible tokens or NFTs will have timestamp, so we know that this is that person's IP, and it'll give you ownership. So it's an exciting space. Obviously there still is a lot of haziness around the metaverse and NFT, but I think the more we kind of prod further and explore what the foundation of this is going to be, I think the more it'll open up to us, because right now it's not a single technology. Metaverse, I think, is going to be an amalgamation or a convergence of AR, VR, MR, artificial intelligence, 5G, IoT, blockchain, wearables, scanners, and when it all comes together, and NFT, it's going to be an exciting space. So you guys are
definitely
building Beemup, and Beemup happens to be, you're calling it the open metaverse. And there are three things on the website which I saw, which you guys are stressing on. It's going to be decentralized. Second, it's going to be ethical, and it's open metaverse. So would you like to talk about these three layers of what you're building at Beemup?
Yeah. So basically, we started Beemup like a year and a half ago. What we created was a technology stack for giving presentations as an avatar in a virtual world. We did the first TEDx talks with that, and a couple of other projects. In the summer before, or at the beginning of this year, before all this metaverse hype, basically, we pivot. We thought of changing our propositions more into creating this ecosystem, this metaverse ecosystem. So basically, Beemup is like the company that started this Your Open Metaverse ecosystem that we're creating at the moment. What Beemup basically is, it's like a toolkit for other companies like activists, artists, and brands to create their own metaspace, their own virtual world, and to host it on our infrastructure. So that's basically a hosting platform in the end. And the Your Open Metaverse, basically that's a token that we're releasing, and like an ecosystem that we're building. And Your, basically what it stands for is that all these assets that you're building or that you let us create for you, they're yours. They're on your own balance sheet. All the data that you collect in your own metaspace, if a visitor of your metaspace gives you permission to do that, it's all yours. We're not like an intermediary like you see with a lot of big tech companies or other startups. And it's via your own channels. So we're not like what you see a lot is a lot of platforms that they have their own silo, their own virtual world where they try to get as many users in that. Well, with us, we're basically the backend or the infrastructure, and you have your own metaspace via your own channels, via your own website. So, and that's of course where you want your audience to be at your own via your own channels. So that's the your part of your open metaverse. Well, the open part is everyone that can use Unreal Engine. We're working in our toolkit. It's a Unreal Engine toolkit or an SDK for Unreal Engine. So everyone that can use Unreal or has skills to create worlds in that, they can connect themselves to the YOM or the ecosystem that we're building. And also it's very accessible. So it's not only accessible via with a VR headset. Well, that's of course the best experience, but you can access it via the browser. So it's also possible to go into these metaspaces via your phone or with your laptop. So we're basically technology agnostic at that point. And well, the ethical part. That's open, decentralized, and ethical. Decentralized is the blockchain integration. So we're marrying the metaverse and the blockchain, and we think that's very important. Also to make sure that not all the power is at Beemup. Everyone that basically the community, it will decide where we're headed, and all the ultimately all the like the IP and all the governance that will be in the hands of the community. So that's also what's very excited about this. We're giving basically the power to the people or the creators. They can definitely have a say, or they determine the course that we're headed. And the ethical part, well, that's also part of that. So the governance, it's at the community. We'll also we're working on setting up a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization that will provide the governance for the whole ecosystem that we're building.
Throughout history, if you see all of our companies or industries which has been built, they have all been built with one single objective, and that has been profit at all cost. And that single objective of profit at cost businesses has created an economy which has fueled so many problems, because it's made a world pretty much unsustainable. But it's so nice that the entrepreneurs now are not just thinking about themselves or filling their pockets or coffers, but thinking about creating a product which has deep, long-lasting impact, and it has the ethos of doing good. And somehow all of our big tech companies, I think they started with that ethos, but now they have made the consumer the product. And all the data that they're generating is being leveraged to manipulate the consumers. So talk to us a little bit more about the ethical part. Talk to me about what's the wrongs with the current world, Do you see big tech ever changing, and what differentiates Beemup?
Well, that's a good point. I think indeed, like you said, a lot of well, companies that are now big tech, well, they started very ideologically. Like, for instance, well, of course, Facebook. Everyone has talks about Facebook when it comes to this, but also like platforms like YouTube. Well, started with the slogan "Broadcast yourself." And like 2 years later, that slogan was deleted, and it was more about pleasing the advertisers, basically. What I think is that this whole like this Web3 trend that we see, the whole the whole blockchain integration, it gives a lot of power to the creators, yeah, just the consumers. They want to have they want to take back control. And well, all these technologies, the blockchain, and well, as you mentioned, NFTs, they give that power back to consumers. So that's also something that big tech can't ignore. So it's a very it's a trend that you need to adjust to in order to in order to keep up, basically. Yeah, that's very excited about this this new phase of the internet, basically. So yeah, and how we did, how we at Beemup how we work is basically with this ecosystem that we're building. Ultimately, we will have this DAO set up with also stakeholders outside of our community. So that that ensures that this will be a place, an ecosystem that will be for everyone. It won't be in the hands of just a few that on top.
So you guys started as creating avatars. I mean, Beemup has been that.
Yeah.
You guys have created avatars, and I think going forward with the metaverse, everyone will have our own avatars, and with maybe possibly a layer of AI getting inside, these avatars will be intelligent. So we are going in such an exciting space, and then you are building your own metaverse, which is almost sort of a platform for metaverse. So before you, and you said you also creating your own token. So before we get into that, would you like to talk a little bit about your team? You mentioned your CTO. What's the team size, and what is it that all of you guys bring together, and what's the vision or roadmap?
Well, basically, so so how it started, Beemup, it was storytelling, presenting as an avatar. So that's how it all started. Jorrit is so our founding team consists of me, Alex, and Jorrit. Jorrit is our CTO. He's a lot of experience in software development and also in the whole crypto space, and also the Unreal Engine. And Alex is our managing director. He's a bit older than Jorrit and me. He has a lot of experience in sales and connecting sales and technology, bring those worlds basically together. At the moment we're rapidly growing our team. So we're building our community with our tokens. So we have a head of community, Jeroen. We have Aragorn, who is our CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. We're rapidly growing our team. That's about like 10 persons. And then aside from that, some advisors and investors. But we're rapidly expanding our team with developers, and also also thinking, or we're working on expanding also internationally.
Lovely. So you mentioned in the beginning of the conversation that through Beemup you built making avatars, and you did a TEDx talk with a digital avatar. So could you shine some light on more of the use cases? What are the use cases of the digital avatar?
Yeah. So basically, the idea was that, well, with this podcast, we're talking like with a webcam, and as an avatar, you basically can step into like a virtual world, and um, it's much more dynamic. You can change the environment, you can interact with the environment, and yeah, it just makes the experience of meeting each other and sharing ideas. It makes it much more dynamic than just like via Teams or Zoom. So that's one use case I see. Also, of course, when you yeah, also in these virtual worlds, when you can meet up as avatars, it's much, you can learn new people. You don't have to travel. I think there's a lot of sustainable positive impacts on this, because you don't have to take you travel by plane for Congress, but you can just meet up as avatars. So yeah, I think in 10 years, well, what you see is that these avatars, they're getting more real and real. Also with something that Unreal Engine has is working on, which is called meta-humans. Well, it's almost not you can't see the difference anymore between real and fake. So yeah, that's also very exciting to ultimately, and that may be also scary for some people, that you like in a couple of years you can't tell the difference anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's such an interesting conversation, because technology is growing rapidly, because it's iterating, and biology, which is us with our your brains, and we have remained linear. And that's the way it's always going to be. Technology is growing exponentially, humans are on a linear path, and yes, so there's some fantastic things which is happening. You mentioned about Unreal Engine, meta humans, and what happens in maybe a decade times, when we are able to create photorealistic content, which we are doing right now. But if what happens if by in a decade, if it gets democratized, if everyone can create photorealistic content, and if everyone can have a digital avatar, with a
yeah,
little agency built in through AI, what happens over there? How would it impact education? How would it
yeah,
impact your healthcare? How would it impact events, rock shows? These are questions which we all need to ask, because yes, there are so much plus points loaded with technology, that it can create a great opportunity for us, for businesses and individuals, but it also has its downsides. Maybe a year and a half back, before the COVID, nobody knew anything about metaverse, and all the
yeah,
investors were like, would run away if you spoke to them about the metaverse. But today it's completely changed. The situation has changed. There are
yeah,
investors looking to invest into metaverse first company, and that's happened because thanks to Facebook, which is kind of rebranded into
yeah,
Meta, and moved from being a social media to moving from being a social media company to a metaverse first company. And it's not just Meta, it's Microsoft, Epic, Roblox, Niantic, Nvidia, and some of the top global startups around the world are laying the building blocks.
yeah,
And I just
exactly.
hope that we do not make the same mistake that we made with the internet. The internet, when it was designed by Sir Tim Berners-Lee, was supposed to be
Yeah,
a op- uh, open, decentralized platform. But now
yeah,
it's got wall gardens everywhere. Even like a basic, for example, if you create content on Oculus, I mean, it's so very difficult to port it to another HMD. So there are so many
yeah.
problems which are there. So when do you see these teething problems, or metaverse being something which is adding real world value, being really something. There is like, I
Yeah.
mean, even Nike has started their own metaverse division as somebody who's running the metaverse department. So there is a lot of excitement and hype around it. But when do
Yeah.
you think that metaverse actually is gonna be starting to giving you real world value?
I think it's well, at the moment we're very in the early phase, so I think it will take like 5 to 10 years to it when it becomes mainstream. Also, when VR headsets there will be when there will be smaller, I think that's very important, and also the chips, the technology, it needs to advance a little bit more for it to be become very very mainstream. I think, but yeah, what you see now, basically, you see a lot of gaming projects. They call themselves metaverse projects at the moment, and a lot of virtual silos, which, basically they're crypto games. You cannot really call them metaverses. Um, um, so yeah, when all these virtual worlds will be connected, like the ecosystem that we're building, we're basically setting up like an example of what we believe is a true open metaverse. When all these virtual worlds will be connected, then it's really and all the I think then you can really speak of a metaverse, and I think that will be like a couple of years time. Um, and I think the blockchain, well, that makes it really that it creates transparency, and it gives ownership back to the people or the consumers. So yes, that's really exciting.
Yeah, I think blockchain is going to play such a integral role in creating a decentralized and open web 3.0, because
Yeah.
there are so many wrongs with what we have built or current internet, and we have a chance to correct them through the
Through
metaverse.
technology, yeah.
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 So why don't you talk about your own metaverse? Your token. You're building a
Yeah.
token. What is
Yeah.
the token about? What's the utility it has? Yeah, do shine some light on that.
Yeah, sure. So basically, the token that it's meant for the whole ecosystem that we're building, well, the ecosystem, well, it has three groups basically, or three main groups. It's the community, it has the creators, and it is the coordinators or the event organizers, basically the brands. So basically, there are like two parts with the token utility. So we have the marketplace. And there in the marketplace, you have like tokenized tickets. So you can trade tickets and passes that can provide like exclusive access to private metaspaces. We also have tokenized metaspaces. So you can trade or lease metaspaces to organize events and generate revenue. And we also have tokenized wearables. So unique wearables you can trade that can be worn across all these metaspaces. So you can have like a jacket or a hoodie or a hat. You can not only like have your swag basically in this virtual worlds, but these clothing items, these accessories, can also provide you access to other metaspaces. So that's like the token utility at the marketplace level. We also have, of course, the metaverse. All these virtual worlds. Well, in these virtual worlds, you have play to earn, promo to earn, and wear to earn. Play to earn, it's you can earn rewards and NFTs by partaking in events hosted in these metaspaces. Promo to earn, you can make your metaspaces profitable by displaying branded assets. Well, that's also interesting in the virtual world, in the metaverse. Well, in the physical world, you have banners, of course,
Right.
show display banners. In the virtual world, in the metaspace, everything is possible. So you can have like branding or sponsoring in the form of abilities. Like, for instance, like a Red Bull can, you can drink it, and then you have like wings, and that can be it creates a lot of new ways of sponsoring and branding. And the last one, wear to earn, so you can wear branded assets and also receive YOM tokens by that. So with all the impressions that you generate with that. So yeah, a lot of ways to get this economy, this virtual economy going.
Lovely. How cool is that? I mean, we will be selling virtual worlds, and even the clothes that we wear will have an opportunity for brands to establish their presence. Now, I know that, I mean, these are really cool things, but I remember Kichi Matsuda, he had made this film called Hyper Reality, and he had made this film like, and his version was, that it was a very dystopian thing. Like, wherever you look, whatever you look at, it's all being annotated, with all these digital overlays, in your face. And I hope that we create a world which is not so intrusive and maybe on your face, but something which is seamless, and helps us, obviously, I mean, monetize our content or digital identity itself. So we are in an exciting space, but obviously I think, we need to ask ourselves these deep questions on how we build the metaverse, because it can get extremely fantastic, and it can get very dystopian also in a very, very short time. So
Yeah.
you know what, do you have any mechanism plan to support the DeFi component?
Yeah, well, like for instance, with all the branding, all the marketing, all the in-your-face marketing, that's very intrusive. For instance, as a visitor of these metaspaces, you can like give the owner of that metaspace a certain permission to you can say, okay, I give you my data, or I can, or I give, yeah, I'm sorry what the word is. I'm okay with seeing advertisements, but then I want to be reimbursed for that. So we can also, like we also have mechanics in play. We're working on that. That you can also receive YOM tokens if you give brands a little bit of your data, or you are okay with seeing advertisements. So yes, that's definitely something that we're working on, and also with the whole governance, how we're setting that up. It also makes sure that that this is a place that you really want to live in. It's not some dystopian future with a couple of big tech and brands that are over you get ads all the time. So yeah.
Is the plans to engage global audience,
Yeah.
Indians? What's the roadmap ahead for Beemup and your own metaverse?
Yeah, basically, so because we're working with Unreal Engine, everyone that has skills with creating worlds and assets and experiences in Unreal Engine, well, they can really, when we launch our SDK, they can integrate that and connect their worlds to our open metaverse. Well, basically, for the next year, our roadmap is we will start, as I mentioned, the public sale of YOM in the first quarter of the year. In the second quarter, we will start do our DEX release, decentralized exchange. We will be listed, yeah. So and then in later, like in the Q3 and Q4, we will launch our first events, and probably launch our SDK. So yeah, that first Unreal Engine developers can connect their creations also to our marketplace and our ecosystem. Yeah.
Right. And if there's audience who want to get in touch with you, how do they reach you?
Yeah, so if they want to get in touch, they can reach me via Daniel at beemup.com. We are, as I mentioned, we're building this community. And if you want to join our community, you can, the best way you can is to go to yom.community, and there you can also find our Telegram and our Discord. So if you have some more technical questions, or you want to know how we're setting up our DAO, or how NFTs come into play, and more the specifics, I advise you to go check that out. We have a whole team set up to help you further. Yeah.
Lovely. Daniel, thank you for taking time and being part of the
Yeah.
podcast. It was lovely chatting with you, understanding what you're building with Beemup and your own metaverse. We are in such a nascent stage of something that we're building which is going to turn out really, really fantastic. And it's in the hand of all entrepreneurs around the world to think a few times before they build this, because we could either create a very fantastic world, or we could create a completely dystopian world, because our current internet itself, it's got so many wrongs. We are, like I said, we are the products, we are being manipulated, and the big tech is just
Yeah.
sucking out data from us. I hope
Yeah.
that we create this digital world, the metaverse, which is beneficial for everyone. And so in that note, think about this is a thought experiment which I do with all of my guests. Think that you're sitting in 2031, which is like 10 years from now. How do you think the metaverse is going to look like, and what would you want the metaverse to look like? And Beam Up and your own metaverse, how do you think that will create a better world?
Yeah. So basically, what I think is, I think how I see like conferences, events. I think it's a very polluting industry. It's very bad for the environment. So I think a lot of B2B parties, that they, if they really want to make or contribute to a better world, I think they can really, instead of doing physical conferences, with hundreds of tons of CO2 emissions, well, they can basically go to the metaverse or a metaspace and meet there and do their socializing, public speaking, events. So that's something I really would like to contribute to make it more accessible for B2B, for to reduce the carbon footprint of the whole events industry, basically. What I like to see is that a lot of creators, they get more empowered, so they can make like cool stuff, more cool worlds, and show their art, their NFTs to others. And that people can do more of what they love, instead of going to a 9-to-5 job, making other people rich, and in their spare time maybe spend some time on creative stuff. Well, that the creative stuff comes first, and that that you can make a living out of that. So, and I think with NFTs, with smart contracts, you can have basically agencies and artists and creators, it provides a whole new scalable way of income. So that's really exciting.
I think the creator economy is something which is going to be, I think, almost like a revolution, because this is the first time, maybe, with the metaverse and the NFTs, creators will be able to not just make a living, but like really share their content through the world, because what they've got right now is these Facebooks and Instagram and Twitters and TikTok and everything. You post your content, and all that you get is likes.
Yeah.
So yes,
I
I think
the IP you give it to big tech. So
yeah, exactly. So we thank you, Daniel, again for being part of the podcast. Exciting space. Wish you and the
thanks
team
for having me.
With the very best. And to my listeners, if you like what you see in here, then please press the subscribe button. And until next time, see you guys. Bye bye. Thank you, Daniel.